Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Crime with Kylie podcast. Now, today's episode is going to be a bit different from what we usually talk about, and I will warn you guys, it has to do with sexual assault of an elderly person, and we're going to dive into the psychology behind this, or what we can assume to be the psychology behind this, because the person who committed this atrocious act was a 14-year-old boy. And to preface this just slightly, because I did post a very short video on this case on my TikTok and on my Instagram, a lot of you guys have commented things about the porn industry, which I actually think is a great point to make. It doesn't directly excuse the behavior. That's not what we are trying to do here. What this boy did, this monster of a boy, is inexcusable. However, there is a substantial difference in how it makes adolescents think, especially even compared to just a few years ago when I was his age versus now. And I'd like to hear your 2 cents on this as well, because at least for me and other people I know who I went to school with, we were graduating class of 2020, 2021 as far as high school goes. I graduated a year early, so technically should be 2021, but you get the gist. So I did not hear, and my peers did not necessarily hear about pornography until we were like 15, 16 years old. End of 8th grade, beginning of freshman year. It wasn't really common, at least then, for boys or girls to be knowing about it, watching it, etc. However, even just last week, my little sister, who is 10, she's in 4th grade, came up to me and told me that a boy has been picking on her and threatening her and said that he has a 22-inch you-know-what. And I honestly do not know how that boy would know about that aside from watching porn. Additionally, my sister did mention that other boys in her grade are talking about and watching porn, and that is why she knows what it is. And back in 4th grade, we were just trying to beat each other in PE, play Foursquare. I think I was still playing with dolls, to be completely honest with you. And the only things that the boys wanted to say to girls was how gross they were. There were like 2 couples, maybe couples, who were dating in the 4th grade. Clearly, that didn't last long, and all they did was hold hands. No one was doing anything, at least at the school that I went to, which was a public school in California. All that is to say that the 15-year-old boy who committed this atrocious act admitted to detectives that he was exposed to porn for the first time at the age of 10, and he became addicted to it. And part of the reason that he even did this to begin with is because he was addicted to it. And the adolescent mind is extremely impressionable. It goes from childhood to adolescent, and that's a very impressionable period of time. And porn, there's been studies, has been proven to alter their brain chemistry in many ways. They can display more aggressive behaviors, more sexual frustration. I'm going to pull up the actual study and read some things to you guys, so you guys have those facts in the exact words, and so I do not butcher it. 3/4 of teenagers admitted to viewing pornography before the age of 17, but the average first exposure is 12. Of those surveyed, nearly 60% say they first stumbled onto pornography by accident or were shown by a friend. Decades of research show that pornography has harmful effects on the emotional, psychological, and social well-being of adolescents. During this critical time of development, young people experience significant social, cognitive, biological, and psychological changes. Adolescents are particularly susceptible to this because what is taking place in that stage of the brain development. After early childhood, adolescence is the second most active time in terms of brain development. This period of development can also make young people who watch porn more vulnerable to mental health issues, including depressive symptoms, reduced ability to interact in social situations, trouble bonding with emotional caregivers, behavioral problems, sexual aggression, low self-esteem, poor body image, and increased likelihood of emotional, social, and sexual problems in adult life. Adolescents who view porn are more likely to use illegal drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. Now that that's all been said, let's talk about 15-year-old Jesse Stone, who when he was 14 years old, sexually assaulted a 91-year-old woman, a woman who was his neighbor, a woman who had had several interactions with him in the past and who deemed him a very good boy. He had helped her with several tasks and was always nice to her until this fateful night. Now, just to clear things up, in this video, you are going to hear the name, I believe, Randy Paul a lot. And that is because they were kind of using a fake name because he was a juvenile. But now that it's been decided that he will be tried as an adult, we now know that his real name is Jesse Stone. It was Sunday, June 9th of last year, 2024, in Florida. Jesse Stone lived in Reddick, Florida with his grandmother, who acts as his legal guardian, so his mother figure, his parental figure, and his sister. We do not know how old his sister is, what her name is, etc. She is completely not involved in this. Anyways, it turns out that Jesse Stone had been cut off from computer, iPad, internet access at his home, presumably for the reason that he was watching a lot of porn, and he was only 14 years old. And as I mentioned earlier, he had been doing this regularly since he was 10. And so it was late at night, and he snuck out wearing some black sweats, and he went over to his 91-year-old neighbor's house. And initially, she was sound asleep. But he entered through her living room door and began watching pornography on her iPad. At some point during this, she confronted him, and what he did was absolutely awful. He sexually assaulted her, and he beat her. Her body was completely bruised. And although Jesse would lie continuously about what he had done, his DNA was on the inside of her underwear. A 91-year-old woman. A lot of us do not make it to 91. You have seen a lot of life if you are 91 years old. You have survived a lot of things. Potentially, a lot of your closest friends and relatives are already gone. And to protect her identity, and because thankfully she is still alive and survived this attack, we are not going to use her name. But she seemed, from what other neighbors have said, and from even what Jesse had said, she is a very kind woman. And so to get that far in life just for a random boy to break into your home and assault you like that, especially when you are in no physical state to fight back, it's unimaginable. It's horrible. And there's no excuse for it. And it was dark when this all happened, so initially she did not know who did this to her. But the second that he left, she called 911. And a neighbor's camera caught Jesse Stone, or someone who really, really looked like him, going towards her house and leaving. And he was in the same exact outfit that he happened to be wearing the very next day. Police went over to his house because they were neighbors, and one of the other neighbors, like I said, had that security footage. He denied that it was him. He said that he was in bed in his house the entire night. But his grandmother said otherwise and was like, no, you were out of the house at that time. And the thing I really, really respect about the grandma, as you will see in the video I'm about to play for you guys, is that she does not play around. It is very clear that she loves her grandson. After all, she is acting as a mother figure to him. Most grandparents, at least good ones, would do anything for their grandchildren. You want to believe the best about your family member, but sometimes the best just is not there. So instead of defending him tooth and nail, she knows he's lying. She's seen him lie before about more innocent things than this, and she is not playing around. And I respect that, because that must have been so hard for her to be in the police station with him and just begging detectives, please just tell the truth. I know you did something. Okay? So that's what I'm going to say about her before I kindly shut my mouth and let you guys watch this footage. You guys will not see the exact confession. A confession did occur, but you guys will not see it because it is still currently redacted. He was supposed to go to trial for this December 19th, but it got pushed back, I believe, to early February. I'll let you guys know the exact date after you watch this footage.
You doing all right? You need anything? All right, Jesse, I'm Ryan, and we're going to come in here and talk to you just a little bit, okay? We're waiting for your mom to get over here, just so we can all be here and talk and figure out what's going on, all right? Okay. You sure you don't want water or anything? Okay. If you need some, just give the door a little knock, all right?
Jesse, I'm going to ask you some questions. It might seem a little bit weird, but this is just to help me understand and make sure that I'm on the same page as you. What was the last time, before then, when you had seen her, or I guess talked with her, kind of like you did that day?
The last time I'd seen her before that was probably about, I want to say, a week and a half before. She was driving down the road from church or something.
Oh, okay.
And she just stopped and said hi real quick. And,
okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember the last time, my understanding when we spoke the first time,
Yeah.
and correct me if I got this wrong, that you, when you were younger, you used to go over and talk with her quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd go over, talk, help her.
Do those types of like household chores, so like laundry
No.
or whatever. Okay.
No, I've helped with the laundry machine, but not to do laundry.
Not like you've never done her laundry for her or bed sheets or anything like that.
No.
You've never like taken a nap or slept in any of her bedrooms or anything like that.
No.
Okay. Do you remember if you've ever been in any of those bedrooms?
No.
No.
No. I've never been in any room other than the living room, kitchen, the bathroom.
Okay. Well, Randy Dunn, I think you probably know that I wouldn't ask that question unless I had a reason to.
Okay.
So, I'm just going to be honest with you because, I feel like you've been mostly honest with me. And I know your mom's been honest with me. Is it okay if I call you his mom?
Yeah.
Brownie? Okay, I don't mean to.
It's okay, yeah.
But when I came over to you on,
Yeah.
I think that was Sunday, and I was asking you about your clothes and the video and such, and I explained that I wanted to get your DNA because I knew that you had been over there before because you mentioned, like you told us today, that you had talked with her. So I knew that at the very least there would be evidence of you being in the porch.
Yeah.
Right? So I went and met with your mom, and you guys signed a consent form, and we got your DNA.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we sent your DNA and the sex kit up to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, who does the testing and stuff for stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay, is there any reason at all that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Yeah, we hug. When I said goodbye to her, we hugged. Like a slight hug.
Okay.
That's.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA was on her underwear.
What?
So I want you to really use this time here to be honest with me about what happened that night, because I think that we know what happened, and I think that your mom knows what happened because she also wrote down a list of times that you went in and out of the house that night, to include the time that the call came in. And I think you probably know that you wouldn't be in here unless we had a good reason to put you in.
I don't see. What?
That's what we like to think too, brother, but that stuff doesn't lie, that stuff doesn't get made up. Sometimes the truth can be hard. You seem like a really good guy, man. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders, you make connections with people that need help, you go out there and you help other people. And there's people out there sometimes that make mistakes.
I'm gonna come over here and I want to
And
make sure.
that doesn't make you a bad person for making a mistake. We just need to understand, like, who is Randy John, man? Just, I don't. And we don't think that that was the intention. But we need to understand what happened, man.
Randy, I want to be real clear with you. We know what happened. What I want to hear from your own words, everything that went on that night.
God. Holy cow.
I want to know why this happened.
Randy, help us understand, man.
Randy, look at me for a second. You did this exact same thing when I asked you about you walking down the road or jogging down the road at 11 o'clock, and you did the whole, I don't remember, and I was like, and you finally admitted to it. And I think this is the exact same thing. I know what happened. And it's only going to help you for you to be honest with me about what happened. Because like I said, we know what happened because we have your DNA at the crime scene.
She said it's not like we're talking about a sweater that it was found on. It's in this elderly woman's underwear. And we're putting everything out here, and you're kind of just looking at all this, man. I know it might be a shock, but what are you thinking?
I'm overly confused.
What are you confused about?
I wasn't even near her house. I was across the street.
For a whole hour, you were gone.
Yeah. I said I was gone.
I don't know if you want to have a couple minutes to talk with your son. Trinity, I want you to think real long and hard. I want to do this. Listen, more than I want to have the truth from you about what happened, because I know that you know what happened, I want to do this for her. If she is as an amazing of a person as you say she is, and I believe you because I've talked with her, getting all of this out in the open for her is what matters.
She deserves the truth to be told, and you know it. Personally, I can't believe that this is a horrible thing with you, John. That's a horrible thing.
I don't even have the ability to do that.
Well, it's hard for me to believe, too. It's really hard for me to believe, too, that you would do a thing like this.
I didn't.
But how many times have you been caught in lies?
I know.
And this is the whole reason why you're on restriction. It's because you're not telling the truth about things. If this woman deserves to have the truth, she deserves it, and you know that.
What?
And don't say why's, Ready John, because why doesn't exist here.
I wasn't at her house.
Ready John, it's across the street. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her face. That's
I don't even think like that.
I've never seen you hurt anybody, but
I don't want her.
what the hell are you doing outside at that time of night? It doesn't make any sense. You understand? Ready, John, it doesn't make any sense. There's a million different things you can do. Being outside where you don't belong, and you know you don't belong out there.
I'm sorry, but I'm an outdoorsy person.
You're not an outdoorsy person. You're a sit in front of the TV kind of guy.
I don't have TV. I'm outside.
Well, I don't know. I hope and pray you did not do this to this
I
woman.
didn't.
I hope and pray. I hope and pray you did not do this. Because this is horrific. This is a human being. And she deserves justice. She does. If this would have happened to your sister, what would you do?
Whoever.
If you know anything about this, Ready John, for her at least, if you care about her, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Been lying about something, and you swear up and Ready John, you've lied about stuff before.
Now, following this conversation with his grandmother, the detectives come back in and they try an entirely new tactic. This tactic is essentially to minimize the crime and kind of try to make Randy John or Jesse Stone feel as though it's not necessarily his fault and he really didn't mean to do this. They're trying to make him believe that they believe that deep down he is a good person.
So I was on talking to your mom, and she said that, I mean, you're 14, right? I think every 14-year-old's had some thoughts about what a woman's like and things like that. And I heard that you've been kind of exploring some nudity and pornography. Is that what's going on, man? The thing is, Grandma's got no reason to lie to me, and you have no reason to lie to me about that either. That's totally normal and totally fine. So is that something I heard you taking Grandpa's phone and taking a look at that?
No, I don't do it on Grandpa's phone. I haven't been able to do it since I had my computer, because she takes everything away.
Yeah. Well, is it true that you were looking at some of that stuff? Like I said, it's totally normal, man. Okay. And like I said, and I think like Detective Hardy said, it's totally normal to want to find out about these things, especially for someone it seems like you really truly cared about this woman.
Yeah.
And maybe you just wanted to figure out what was what, man.
What it was like. Maybe you went into there, you didn't expect her to be awake. And so you freaked out. And you panicked. Because that's what it looks like. Is that this was oh shit. And then maybe you just flopped around not expecting her to, maybe you just wanted to knock her out. You didn't think you would hurt her this bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got out of there.
Because what we're trying to figure out, Randy John, is like the party said, like we're pretty certain of what happened. What we're trying to figure out is Randy John the kind of guy that breaks into people's houses with axes and chops them up into pieces and leaves them and murders them? Or did Randy John just make a mistake? Did he go into a house and expect this 91-year-old woman to be sleeping and maybe figure out something about life, and then things just went awry? Because thing is, people panic, man. And people do things that they don't mean and they don't want to do when they panic.
Honestly, Randy John, I feel like you probably wish that this had never happened. Like, I honestly still believe that you never really intended to hurt. Because you care about her.
I don't intend to hurt anyone.
Now at this point, they try one more new tactic that really ended up working. And the female detective steps out, and it is just the male detective and Jesse Stone left completely alone. And the detective is going to try to empathize with Jesse and say, kind of like man to man, porn is completely normal, being curious is completely normal, I'm sure you didn't want to hurt anyone, and I believe that is what seals the deal, because you're not going to hear it since it's redacted, but shortly after this, he confesses.
I can give you some more stuff. Sure. So, how old were you when you started watching the porn videos?
My friend showed them to me when I was 10.
10. So you've been watching them since you were 10?
Off and on, yeah.
Okay. How often do you think you were watching them before you got put on restriction?
Once or twice a week.
Okay. And what kind of stuff were you watching? Looking at pictures? Were you watching videos?
A mix of both.
A mix of both? Okay. And what site do you normally use?
The XNXX.
XNXX. And that's all it's called? You just put that into Google, XNXX?
Yeah, that was the website my friend showed me.
Okay.
Back in December, Jesse Stone pleaded guilty to all charges against him, including burglary and sexual assault. He is going to be tried as an adult in this case, because the thing is, when kids commit crimes that are adult-level crimes, such as rape or murder, it's rape in this case, they can be tried as adults, especially in states like Florida. That's very common. We've seen it several times before. And his new trial date is actually 2 weeks from now. It is on February 7th of 2025. So after that, we can expect to learn a lot more information about this case. We'll see who testifies, what the prosecution is going to do, what the defense will do, whether or not Jesse will actually seem empathetic and sympathetic about what he did. You know, not just the tears because you got caught and you're going to be sentenced to some jail time, and hopefully the woman who he victimized and who he did this to will get some form of justice. And until then, if there are any updates, you can check my Instagram, Kylie Telemontes, or TikTok, Crime with Kylie, for more of those updates, and I will see you guys next week for a whole new video. If you have any case requests, feel free to comment them down below. And if you like this podcast, feel free to subscribe, because we will be uploading videos every Friday, and my husband has just started recording scary story videos, true scary story videos, and those will be uploaded to the channel midweek. Bye, and have a great rest of your weekend or your week whenever you are watching this.